to Why Women Don't Date These Guys. I'm Naomi Guy, and I'm visited by a very special guest who is not my brother.
I am not your brother. My name is Len Zuro.
I love how we always start every episode like that.
I'm just not, because I'm not your brother.
Did you ever listen to that? I don't think you did.
Which one?
My dad, I think it was on NPR when I was younger. My dad used to listen to Car Talk, which is just like two brothers, and they were like, don't drive like my brother, and don't drive like mine, at the end of every single show. It was really cute. They were in the movie Cars. They were the announcers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, hello.
Hi.
Good to see you here.
We're in our home.
We are in our home. We're sitting here at our kitchen table on a lovely rainy Sunday, and we are here to talk about intimacy. So, friends, followers, keep listening. Family, go away. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about... So, we are here to talk about intimacy and catch you guys up on our relationship. We love sharing. We feel like we're in a really good place in our relationship.
I think so.
Yeah, we had a conversation today about like what's coming up in the next year for us, and in the next couple years we had to talk about, expanding our family this week as well. That was exciting.
Yeah, definitely was.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that. And what else did we talk about this week?
We talked about the next steps for our relationship, going into engagement and marriage possibly in the future.
Yeah.
Talked a lot about just stuff like that. It was kind of like all in the general same vicinity of that, but just different aspects of it, I think.
I was given advice this week by somebody that I work for, and she said that, like, I was talking to her about the job search that I'm going through right now, because if you guys didn't know, I'm graduating next Monday, the 12th of December. Very excited. This is actually my last Sunday in college.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is very crazy.
So I was talking to her, and we were chatting about, I was having a hard time. I'm feeling kind of defeated when looking for work, and I think that Len can say the same right now. We're both looking for work right now, and he's currently employed. I am part-time employed. And we were chatting, and she was like, you need to understand that this is just a season, and you need to enjoy the life that you have right now, because it's not always going to be this fun and butterflies. Like, you're not going to ever have this amount of free time ever again unless you're unemployed again. And you just need to take things as they come. And she put it in the sense of she was a bridesmaid in a lot of weddings, and she was talking to someone that had employed her. She was a nanny when she was my age too, and she was like, I'm just kind of done being a bridesmaid. Like, I'm ready to be the bride. And the woman that she was working for essentially just said, like, you need to enjoy being a bridesmaid. Like, it's not always going to be like this, and when it does happen, it's going to go by so quick, and you just need to enjoy the time that you're in right now. And I am taking that to heart, and just enjoying where I'm at in a relationship with my boyfriend.
I'm your boyfriend.
Yeah. And just enjoying it. So to totally change the topic, we are drinking an alcoholic beverage today because we're both over the age of 21. So internet, don't cancel us. And we're drinking a margarita. Len, would you like to share what's in this margarita?
It's tequila, orange juice, lemon juice, and...
Don't give away the family recipe.
I didn't say the type of tequila.
Okay, good.
Duh. And then some guava. Is it the guava?
It's either guava or grapefruit.
One of those. One of those. And some ice.
Yeah.
And a little bit of the family secret honey.
Ooh. Okay, cheers.
Cheers. Made them a little stronger.
They're really good.
Yeah, that's really good.
I like that, like, instead of the seltzer water.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. The soda. So, Len and I started this journey of intimacy in the bedroom.
Years? Oh, a little over year and 3 months now?
But I think that we would say that, like, we've explored different types of intimacy in the bedroom.
Yes, we have.
And to be completely transparent to our audience, I have a hard time with my libido because I'm currently on a libido suppressing birth control. And Len and I have talked extensively about like ways that we can increase my libido, and taking iron tablets has helped me. I don't know if that's just like a mental thing or if it like actually helps, but that's been helping a lot. I would say, at least.
Yeah, from at least what I can see, as a third party in that little part of your life, yeah.
And I think that it's also like it increases my mood too. Like it helps my mood a lot.
It does, yeah. I can agree with that.
And so, just in the place where we are in our relationship, we kind of need to be taking birth control, and so that's where we're at right now. And I'm taking hormonal birth control, so it's kind of hard to keep intimate when your libido's so low. So we've when we started our relationship, obviously there was a lot more lust in the bedroom than there was like
love, I would say.
Yeah. And that's just the dynamic that we had going into our sexual relationship. And so as the months have gone on, we have like figured out different ways that we can keep that sort of spark alive, and while having like variables in the way, like birth control, low libidos, and things of that nature. So what totally sparked this journey for me was in August, I watched a TEDx talk, and I cannot track it down for the life of me. But this woman was talking about having intimacy in sexual encounters that you have with anyone, and not just like a partner that you have for a long-term relationship, but having intimacy in all sexual encounters that you have. And she had mentioned that in those sexual encounters that you have, you kind of need to experiment in such a way that you bring in a spiritual aspect into like the sexual encounter. And so obviously you can't do it the first time. It takes a lot of experimenting, and we've been having a lot of fun experimenting.
Yeah, we have.
And it was kind of like a breakthrough, I'd say like a little over a week ago that we had. That was like, it completely transformed the way that we had sex. Mm-hmm. And it was, because we had talked about this extensively, like how to bring that spiritual aspect into like intimate encounter. And then I had that like, it was like a clicking moment for me, where I was like, this is what I need, and this is the mindset that I need. And so I shared this with Len in August, and we've kind of worked towards it. And it's having sex not to complete the action, not to,
not to come. I'm not as filtered as you are.
This is supposed to be PG-13.
Yeah, you could say come on PG-13.
I was gonna say like finish or like ejaculate.
I feel like
that's like the...
Yeah, but cum isn't like slang. I feel like cum's a pretty...
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
But instead to just enjoy the time that you're having with your partner, and instead like bond with your partner and spend that time and review it as a bonding experience. And so we have I feel like we've gotten the hang of it, and I feel like it's a different experience, because when you're chasing that sort of high and you're chasing that like ending, it's more of work than it is for pleasure.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I get that. Yeah, and I agree extensively. This is the first time I've had, I feel like, actual intimate sex with anybody.
Okay. I feel like I would say the same for me.
Like, I've never had that connection or spent the time to focus on anyone else's needs during sex other than my own. And then in this relationship, I feel like I finally have been able to break down that wall.
Would you say it's because of the connection that we have, or would you say that it's just because, like, you have a different view of sex?
I would say a mix of both, because I feel like I couldn't have one without the other.
Okay.
And in my past sexual encounters, it was never about, anything other than lust and sex.
Chasing the high.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to finish.
So I have a question for you that I've been pondering.
These are fun.
This has started. I started watching Sex in the City while Len was gone for Thanksgiving. And I've asked him a series of questions by like not witnessing, but like watching the series and like coming up with questions for him. And I feel like you've Have you enjoyed them? Be honest.
They're interesting questions. I can't say they're not interesting questions.
Because I feel like I have one like once a day for you now.
Yeah, you do. Because you watch that show religiously now.
Yeah, but it's like...
It's only when I'm not there, though, too. Like,
yeah,
you only do it while I'm playing video games or while I'm doing anything else.
Well, you don't enjoy watching it.
I don't.
I had you watch it, like, one episode, and you're like, I don't enjoy the show. And I was like, great, I won't watch it with you.
It was just... I couldn't get behind it.
No, I get it.
And it was also Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica... You don't like Sarah Jessica?
I don't like Sarah Jessica Parker.
Interesting.
I don't like her as an actress. I really just don't like her.
What else have you seen her in?
Oh, there's like movies and shit she's been in. I've never enjoyed her as a character on the show or an actress.
She's just known for Sex and the City. That's like what she's known for.
But I've seen her in like other things, and I never liked her.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so anyways, going back to the original story, I started watching it while Len was gone because we have like a series of like different shows that we watch together, but I just kind of feel weird like watching them without him, even if we watched it like 40 times together. Like I just feel weird watching it. And so I started the show, and Len and I do this. That was Hops. If you heard that, that's our cat. His name is Sir Hops a lot.
Yeah. Where is he?
And Len left for Thanksgiving, and I started watching this show, Sex and the City, and I'd watch the movies, but I could never get my hands on the actual, like, show, and so I was, like, interested to see what became, because I think the show was made before the movies.
Yeah, no, I think it was, too.
Yeah.
The thing that shocked me the most about that show was the amount of nudity in it. I never, because it was, like, on, like, aired TV, like, constantly.
Well,
and, like,
just boobs, like, and butts. You never see, like, actual genitals.
Well, yeah, but still, like, for when that show did come out, like, that was, like, that's a lot of nudity. Like, nowadays, that's not uncommon. That's pretty normal nowadays, but, like, when was that show coming out? Like,
the 90s?
Like, early 90s? Late 90s?
I think it was, like, early 90s. It was definitely before 9/11, because they have shots of the Twin Towers.
Yeah, so it's... For that time period, that was shocked me the most about that show. Was, like, how much just nudity they do have for an early 90s show. It's, like...
That's fair.
I've never seen a show like that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely interesting, but it definitely has that like very 90s-esque feel to it. Like it's very like Friends-esque in the sense that like, but they talk about a lot of like topics that you wouldn't normally talk about in a show at that time. And I think that's why it was so groundbreaking. But anyways, I've seen the movies. I've been watching the show, and I watch these like episodes, and I come up with topics to like talk to Len about, and we talk about them over dinner or wine or something like that. Or she'll
just text me throughout the day while I'm at work.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? I think the most recent question that I asked him was I think it was the kid one.
No.
Or was it the threesome one?
It was the threesome one.
So in an episode, one of the women is exploring a threesome with two gay men. She gets asked to have a threesome with her friend that's married to another man. And they eventually end up like declining her. Like they're in the middle of the sexual act, and they go down to like give her oral sex, and they're like, you know what, we're really just not into this. Like it isn't you. Like you're beautiful. We just aren't into your like body parts like that. And she was offended, but then she was like, oh, it kind of like makes sense. Like I wouldn't be wanting to have sex with a person with a vagina like that because I'm into like people with penises, and that just made sense for her after she thought about it. But I texted Len and I was like, do you think, I don't remember, do you think that it'd be easier, or do you think it could happen?
You asked me, the exact phrasing that you asked me was, if two girls who are in a relationship together, or two women or two lesbians, or however you phrased it, asked you to join them in a threesome, would you?
Yes.
And I, of course, was like, I'm in a relationship right now, but like if I was single and that opportunity arose, yes, I would accept that offer.
Yeah. And I said, well, I mentioned like this scenario of two gay men asking me to be in a threesome, and I was like, I don't know if I would like be into that, but like I would be willing to explore it. And then you were like, I just don't think that'd be as common. And then we had a little spat about it because I was like, are you just saying that, like, are you just more cocky? And
no,
and
I was saying it from, like, the way threesomes, or at least from what I know of homosexual sex and heterosexual sex.
Sex, yes.
The difference between lesbian homosexual sex and gay homosexual sex
is quite different.
It's very different, especially in the way that they what they use and what they enjoy. And I feel like
meaning sex toys.
Yes, sex toys or ways to have sex with each other or lots of different things. It's a lot more common for lesbians to use dildos, to use strap-ons, to use a bunch of different sex toys that help them reach that climax that they're looking for while with a person that they're attracted to of the same sex. And it would be easier for a man or a straight man to join in on that by,
having the
penis and just being, as I like to call it, a living dildo. Like, it's not like they would be adding anything extra to it. They would just be the penis in the situation instead of a strap-on. Yeah. And while they can still have those moments with each other that they really want, then have the other stuff happen to them simultaneously. Yeah. Versus when gay sex is happening, they're not really looking for the vagina. They're not looking to see a woman giving them a blowjob. They're not they're not looking for any of that. They're looking for a person of the same sex too. Yeah. And a different feeling or, something up their butt. Whatever, whatever they're into, they look for that. So I feel like it just made sense when I was talking about it.
Yeah. I don't know. Going back to the threesome thing, like, you and I have talked about, like, threesomes in relationships because that's something you have explored, but that's not something, like, I just figured out, like, in the past, like, week or two. I was always told, like, in past relationships when that was brought up, like, oh, you're just, like, territorial, or, like, oh, you just, like, you're just jealous. And I just realized that, like, it's not a jealousy thing. I think it's a preference thing. Like, it just doesn't turn me on to see my partner with somebody else. Yeah. And so, like, I guess, like, people that I've had this conversation with haven't been very open-minded sexually in that sense because they think, like, oh, you're just, like, too jealous and, like, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think that, like, and everybody is allowed their own perspective, but to me, it's just, like, that just doesn't turn me on. Like, seeing you with somebody else I wouldn't be like, oh, I want to jump on in there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just interesting to, like, hear other people's perspectives.
No, definitely. I think it is. And with my past, treks and, the opening up the relationship to threesomes and other items as well from my past relationships that I've explored, or just being single and getting into items of that nature. It's very much per person. Mm-hmm. No one has the same open mindset that I have towards that kind of thing, and no one has the same mindset that you have towards that kind of thing.
But I wouldn't say that it's, like, open. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say, like, open and closed. Like, I wouldn't label it as that. I think it's just preference.
Yeah, no, it is preference. When I meant open, I meant, like, open-minded to the topic. To the topic. Okay. I wasn't saying, like, an open relationship.
No, I know what you.
I was saying more like open to the idea or the concept of that, and so everyone's different in that manner. Like, I'm different from you. You're different from me. Yeah. The person in the house next to us is probably different from us. Like, we never know.
Yeah. Good guy that lives next to us.
He is really cool. Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
So the next question that I asked you was, I think the next
was the baby one. Yeah.
It was the kid one. So I asked the question, if you were seeing a person who had recently been divorced and they were not taking care, but, like, they had a kid, and the kid was in the house when you were having sex. And then you, obviously, in privacy, you were having sex in privacy, you weren't having sex in front of the kid. The kid's, like, 3 or 4. You go and run to the restroom, and you leave the door open because you forget that the kid's there. And the kid runs in, and you don't want the kid to see you because, like, that's private, obviously. You don't want to subject the kid to things that they're not used to, body parts that they're not used to. And then you slam the door on them, and they accidentally bump their head and they need stitches. Would you, I think the question was, from the other person, from the parent's perspective, if you were a parent, would you stay with that person if they hurt your child?
I think that's circumstantial. Like, in that situation, I think that it was just a flush reaction. Yeah. And you just shut the door and the kid just kept running towards it. Yeah. Like, I don't think there was any malicious intent. Yeah. With that. It was more like a privacy, like, if I'm butt-ass naked in taking a piss in a bathroom of a woman who I just had sex with, and her kid comes running in. I don't want that kid watching me will. I don't want him watching me just whip out my willy and pee. Like, I'm definitely going to shut the door on him, and if he keeps running at it, it's not my fault.
But would you stay with a person that hurt your child?
I think that depends on the person. Like, I think, like, there will be a lot of, like, things that will have to go into that.
Yeah. I think it's also, like, it's hard for us to say because, like, we don't have kids. And so, like, it's hard for us to be like, oh, yeah, that, like, that's definitely a no-go.
Yeah.
Or, like, that's okay. You know what I mean? From my perspective where I am right now in my life, it was an accident. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't take it personally, but I also would, like, go off of the reaction of my kid. Like, is my kid, like, forever scarred by that person? Or, like, yeah. Okay, here's my next question. This is a new question. I want to hear your perspective.
Okay.
I came up with this question because of the topic of fuck buddies. We've all had them. We've all, been there, done that. Do you think that you can have a full functioning relationship with another person, no matter their gender, sex, whatever you're into? Like, full functioning in the sense that, like, you live together, you're going to get married, blah, blah, blah. But it's just based around sex. There's no sense of communication. There's no sense of, like, intimacy. It's just sex. So I'm thinking, as an example, I would use, like, the couple from 50 Shades of Grey. Because the vast majority, like, I've watched those movies. I don't think I've seen all of them, but I think I've seen most of them. And
or, like, the couple in 365 Days.
Yeah. Like, it's solely, like, based around sex. It's, like, how we started in our relationship, but you kept it that way. I don't think it's possible.
So you're basically saying the relationship's pretty much your roommates with the person you're having sex with constantly.
Yeah. You, like, live with that person, you share a bed with that person, you share a life with that person, you go to the other person's, like...
Family events all
and
that
stuff.
But it's
and,
only
like,
solely based around sex.
Yes.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think that could work long term.
I feel like people are just too complicated for that.
Yeah, I feel like it would work for, like, 6 months to a year.
Really? You think it would be that long?
Well, yeah, people, like, I've been in longer relationships where I was unhappy, but I just didn't leave. And, it's just, like, people will sit through shit for, people sit in line for hours on Black Friday just to get, like, 30% off. Like, why wouldn't you wait the extra day to see if you have sex again?
I think that people, like, don't have patience when it comes to that. And I think that's a big part of it, is that, like, people, and you and I witness this every day, like, both, like, a lot of our friends are in unhappy situations in their relationships because they don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
But then that, like, sparks the question, like, we talked about this, like, earlier this week. We talked about, like, individualism and how it, like, sparks and, like, fulfills everything that consumerism is.
Yeah.
And just to talk about that a little bit for our audience, we were chatting about how if you're an individual, you spend a lot more in a capitalist society than you would if you were in a relationship, in the sense that, like, if you're two people that are not dating each other, you have two separate beds and you have two separate spatulas and you have two separate rents that you're paying and things of that sort. But if you're a couple, you share everything and there's a lot less money going into the world.
A lot less money. I spent more money on this house.
No, but what I'm saying,
had before.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, these are one-time purchases.
Yeah.
We don't need to be making, you don't need a couch and I don't need a couch separately. Like, there's a lot, obviously your money goes into different things when you're in a couple. So, like, your money might go to a restaurant. Your money goes to gifts. Your money goes towards different things, but it's not as, you don't need two of everything anymore. You just need one.
Yeah, okay.
Pops just really wants to put his input in here.
Yeah, he's really got a lot to say when it comes to intimacy in the bedroom.
Yeah.
As you know, he's just a monster in there.
He's just going
for it. He's
an
absolute beast in the bedroom.
Yeah.
They thought they neutered him back in the day, but they missed.
Back in the day? What was that? No.
3.5 years ago.
3.5? Okay. So, I just took this because I read something about it on social media. And it was like talking about the society most of us live in is loveless. Even though human beings need love, we don't understand it. And our society doesn't prioritize it. In fact, talking about love, especially in science, academia, and politics, is seen as wishy-washy and cringy. Patriarchal capitalism and white supremacy use domination, abuse, and exploitation to gain status, power, and prestige. Our systems are built on these pillars, not on the pillars of love. If we are raised in a society like this, we will have been taught that we are not enough as we are, that in order to be valued, we must be somehow better than others, and it's okay to do whatever it takes to climb the ladder. In this kind of society, consumerism is a great way to signal status, power, and prestige. Buying new clothes, living in an aesthetic house, being able to go on vacation, these things earn admiration and respect. There are two problems with this. Consumerism, consuming endless products is not providing us with long-lasting satisfaction, nor is it designed to in a system built on endless economic growth. Two, our planet's ecosystems cannot support our growing appetite for more and more stuff. Love is a choice, an act of will, and entails extending ourselves to nurture someone or something else's growth. If we prioritize love in our society, people would feel enough just as they are, and they wouldn't feel the need to buy things to gain status, power, and prestige. If we prioritize love in business, companies would actually try to help others and the planet. They wouldn't try tricking you into thinking that you have problems that they can solve, but by actually solving the world's problems. Consumerism has been shown to create anxiety and depression. This is expected because people start to be defined by what they own rather than who they are. Defining human beings who crave love as consumers instead of citizens or community members has also been shown to contribute to divide rather than unify. Wow, they just put wrong grammar in there. So they gave a pro-love and anti-consumerism affirmation. I am a human being, and I am part of an intricate web of life on a planet floating in space. I'm not here to buy. I'm here to love. I am enough as I am. What do you think about that?
True. I mean, it's a lot of words, if I'm being honest, that you just spat at me. But
basically,
the basic premise of it, I understand
yes.
and I agree with.
I think that...
We agree with.
Oh, you and Hobbs?
Yeah.
I should really put this picture as the podcast. Here, I'll take a picture of you right now. Perfect. That's gonna be the podcast cover. But anyways,
this is the first time anyone's gonna see what I really look like.
That's not true. We posted pictures of you.
On the pod?
Yeah,
what?
on the podcast account. We have you as the cover of our podcast episodes when you're on the podcast.
Oh. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't look at the podcast covers when I listen to them.
Okay, that's fair.
I kind of just press it and listen.
Press play and listen. That's kind of the whole point.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that's a beautiful message because especially this time of year when everyone's consuming in order to show their love. It's kind of hard to show up to Christmas and not have anything because then everyone's like, oh, she doesn't care about us, or oh, he doesn't care about us, or oh, they don't care about us. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's hard to be a part of a society that's about consuming when you just are about the vibes.
Vibes are king.
Vibes are king. What can I say? So, going back to intimacy.
Yes.
And the coffee talk that is this episode. I really think we should just start a series of coffee talks where we talk about things in our relationship that's going on.
I think I like that idea.
Yeah,
let's do it.
So, can I ask you?
Sure.
We've created intimate times in our relationship outside of the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And for people listening, when you're in a relationship, it's about the small things. It's not about the big things. I think everybody by now knows that. Can you tell me how you try to create intimacy outside of the bedroom?
I like to use your love language to do that. So, acts of service. I try whenever you want one. I make you a coffee in the morning before I leave for work.
Every morning.
Pretty much every morning,
yeah.
I make you a coffee, and she likes a little bit of a latte. So I make her a latte every morning before I leave for work, and I leave it next to her so she can wake up to a coffee. Things I try and pick up, some slack around the house if there's ever times when I know she's stressed or has something going on where I can help. So I like to do that. just little things, you know, vacuuming around the house, making sure, you know, shit's clean whenever I can. I know I'm not the best at that one, but I try whenever I have the chance to. Just helping with certain things, you know, going to the store, picking up something that she has been needing for a little bit that we need for the kitchen, or just something that, you know, she's been asking about. I've fallen off my game, but I still try to get her flowers as often as I can. Work's been kicking me in the ass, so I haven't really had the energy to, but I try to whenever I do have the energy to go get her a nice bouquet of flowers so that, you know, she knows that I love her. And just, you know, small acts of service and, you know, telling her that she's loved and cared for is kind of what I try to do.
Can I share things that I think are like intimate that like you do for me?
Sure.
I think that when I was like thinking about this episode and like what we were going to talk about, you do things that are very small that you might not think are intimate but mean the world to me. For instance, like you and I have different levels of cleanliness that we think are clean, and you have sort of catered to my cleanliness level since we moved in together, and that like makes me very grateful. It makes me very thankful that because you know that a lot of my mental state is based around like how clean things are. Or small things like obviously coffees and things like that in the morning, and you listen, and I think that we just have really nice like conversations, and that's not very, we never run out of things to talk about.
That's very true. We never do.
Like we talk to each other probably 3-4 hours a day, and we never run out of things to talk about, which I think I'm personally amazed by. And
I got lots of stories.
It's not just that, but like we explore different topics and we talk about everything under the sun. And you also, something else that you really do that I really enjoy is, you know how much I love shopping at like Marshall's and TJ Maxx. You always like are like, oh, I'll come with you. Like I'll push the cart.
I'll watch you drop $100.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes, a lot of times more. Of my money.
It's not your money. It's not your money.
Not always my money.
Not always. No. And I always want to buy you. So
How am I supposed to say no to you?
NBC News gave some ways that you can create intimacy in your relationship, just outside of the bedroom. So a couple ways are being strategically vulnerable to earn someone's trust, which I think is kind of manipulative if you think about it, but okay, NBC News. Giving your partner daily affirmations and compliments, which I think is great. Like, you're always constantly berating me with I love yous and you're beautiful and you look great today and things like that.
Yeah, and you always fight me on them.
Prioritize sexual satisfaction, so that sort of is back into the bedroom. Make an effort to break out of your day-to-day routine. So those are a couple of things that NBC News says. I also researched more of like intimacy in the bedroom, going back to the topic that we started this about. And I got it from betterhealth.com or .gov, sorry. And it was just talking about like intimacy and how you can create that in the bedroom. And it's important to share a whole range of emotions with a partner. Otherwise, some people begin to feel lonely and isolated regardless of how good their sexual experiences may be, which I feel like both of us have experienced.
Yeah.
Like we can have really great sex with someone, but we feel emotionally isolated from them. Mm-hmm. Many couples making love involves a sense of intimacy and emotional closeness. An intimate sexual relationship involves trust and being vulnerable with each other. Closeness during sex is also linked to other forms of intimacy, including emotional and spiritual intimacy. Intercourse is only part of sexual intimacy, which involves foreplay and other forms of physical intimacy. So you can explore ways to share love and affection without sex. Remember that sex includes many forms of physical contact. Often, the more a couple is intimate with each other in ways other than sex, the more fulfilling their sex life becomes. So I feel like we've kind of gotten into more like physical intimate things outside of the bedroom. I would say like when you have like your back hurts, like I'll give you a back rub and vice versa. Mm-hmm. The other day when my calves were hurting, you were like, give me it! I want to get the knot out.
Yeah, I had to fight you for that one.
It hurt. It felt like you were putting like sandpaper down my leg.
Because it felt like you had 2 fucking stones in your legs. I had to rub that bitch out.
But I feel like there's a lot of different ways that you can create intimacy, and I feel like a lot of that is just being very vulnerable and honest and trusting with your partner. So, and something that I think that both of us kind of have had to get out of the mentality of is like, you in no way owe your partner anything sexually.
Yeah.
And I think that both of us have been in relationships where the partner either has guilted us or, not been the best person sexually to us. And so obviously being sexual with someone is a very intimate act. Like you're very vulnerable when you're having sex, no matter the context, whether you're in an intimate relationship or you're not in an intimate relationship with them. It's vulnerable. And so when you have those vulnerable experiences with people that don't necessarily share the same views as you and take advantage of the situations, it's hard to undo those types of traumas. Mm-hmm. And so both of us have kind of had to learn, and I'm speaking for both of us right now, correct me if I'm wrong, that both of us need to relearn and kind of adjust to this mentality that like you don't owe your partner anything. There are nights when your partner is ready sexually and you don't have to be, and it's okay, and you can share that intimacy, that closeness in other ways, like giving a foot rub or watching a movie together, having a conversation. Like I think that nights that we aren't sexually satisfying each other, we find ways that we can be close, sharing a bottle of wine or cooking dinner together. We do that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's ways that we can keep that closeness, that intimacy, without having to share a bed together.
Yeah, 100%.
Is there anything else you would like to share?
Not at the moment.
I
think we've hit pretty much everything
Okay.
I wanted to talk about.
Is there anything that you would like to talk about that you think is important to share? Advice? Because I feel like you and I both agree.
Yeah, we agree on...
that we agree that we're in a healthy relationship.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think the only advice I can give is to be patient with your partner, especially if you're just either starting out in a relationship or having to relearn, these intimate things. Like, patience is key because you never know how they feel about a certain situation. Like, it might be hard to articulate, it might be hard to talk about. There could be a million reasons why someone could be feeling uncomfortable. And the thing is, when you're breaking down those walls, just to be patient with your partner, because over time, things will be relearned, but it's not going to be quick.
Yeah.
So I think patience is key when it comes to building a healthy, intimate relationship, sexual or non-sexual.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think that it's obviously, in order to kind of, sign that contract kind of situation, not, actually sign a contract, but, sign that contract in the sense that, you are in a relationship, you need to take on the responsibility of your own feelings, but also you need to take into consideration constantly your partner's feelings, because your actions, especially when you're living with them, directly impact them.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to just move on in a situation, obviously, if your partner is hurt. And so I think that we have talked about this extensively this week alone. You came home and you were kind of not feeling the best about a situation that I couldn't control, but I was trying to fix the situation, even though I could not control it in the least.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you literally had to stop me and be like, you cannot fix this situation. This isn't your wheelhouse. This isn't your responsibility to do. So, I think that that's good advice, is being patient, especially in relationships where both of you don't have the best past with relationships like we do.
Yeah.
So, I think that was a good coffee talk. Sorry, Marg talk.
Marg talk this time.
I'm going to label it coffee talk. It's just going to be coffee talks from now on. I'm just going to share one last lesson.
Go ahead.
From the last year. I think that you have inspired me in many ways. And one of them is to kind of let things go a little bit more. I'm going to label myself. You don't need to label me. You don't need to rub it in. But I am uptight. And don't make that face at me. And I think that in the last year, being around you and your people has showed me that I don't have to take life so fucking seriously.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And so...
You're on a rock floating in space.
Yeah, and the world's dying.
You started from an amoeba, a one-celled organism. Who the fuck cares what you do in your life? Absolutely fucking nobody.
Biology by Len Zuro. That's just the whole book.
Nothing matters in life. You're on a rock. You came from a single-celled organism, from soup, from chemical soup. Who the fuck cares what you do? Light a dumpster fire, kids. Len Zuro, peace out.
And so I feel like that's a really great lesson to learn. I think that I realized that I was like a lot more laid back when on Thanksgiving. Like everything was kind of like all the dishes were coming in at different times, and my brother hadn't quite finished his dish that he was like contributing to, like, because we do like potluck style at my house for Thanksgiving. And so my brother hadn't quite finished the like green bean casserole that he was making, and my dad was like, okay, like the turkey's ready, like we gotta get everything's hot right now. And I was like, we have all the time in the world, like we have nothing to worry about, like we're just chilling, like we're in no rush, no one's going anywhere. Like if we need an extra 10 minutes, great, we'll put the turkey in a warmer, like it's not that big of a deal. So I think that like by hearing myself say that, I was like, okay, I'm like a lot more laid back than I was before. And yeah, who knows? That might change, but for right now, that's where I'm at.
That's how you should be. That's the best way of life.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening. We hope you have a wonderful week. We'll come back at some point with another coffee talk.
Probably.
We love talking and sharing thoughts. Not necessarily advice. I don't feel like we're that cocky enough to be giving advice.
I know. No.
Yeah.
No.
We hope you have a great week. Celebrate your loved ones. Celebrate yourself. You're all wonderful. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Wear a condom.
We have many thanks for the use of our theme music, which is the song Drop by Ketsa. You can find more of their music online at ketsa.uk. You can also find Date These Guys online on Twitter and Instagram at Date These Guys, or visit our website at datetheseguys.org. If you have questions you'd like us to discuss on the podcast or marriage proposals for either of us, shoot us an email at datetheseguys@gmail.com.